Hello and welcome back to Alice Talks Football and welcome back to another live Manchester United news and transfer news update show. We are going to be talking about Ten Hag because Ten Hag starts tomorrow. He's going to be at Selhurst Park. He starts tomorrow. He's going to Carrington tomorrow and he's got a lot of things to sort out. And we're going to be talking about what Ten Hag's going to sort out, what he's going to change. Ten Hag's done an interview. He's spoken about the dressing room, issues in at Man United, and we're going to talk about all of that in a second. I hope the quality is all right. Wi-Fi's been playing up a little bit, so do let me know in the live chat if I buffer a little bit, but hopefully not. Make sure you hit that like button and make sure you subscribe. We've got lots and lots to talk about in today's show, and it's going to be more of an interactive show because we're really going to be talking about Ten Hag. And basically, what has come out, guys, is Ten Hag has terminated his contract at Ajax 6 weeks early. So Ten Hag was meant to be at Ajax for another 6 weeks. He was actually meant to go on holiday and celebrate with the whole Ajax squad in one of the Dutch islands in the Caribbean. He's gone, no, I'm not celebrating. I'm not partying. Even though I've won the league, I'm straight to work. And that says everything about Ten Hag's character. Ten Hag won the Eredivisie. The next morning, after he won the Eredivisie, he calls a meeting with Mercer, Mitchell van der Gaard, Steve McLaren to discuss transfers. Ten Hag could go on holiday and celebrate his win and have a good last week with Ajax before starting the United job. He terminates his contract and he goes to Carrington tomorrow. He goes to Manchester tomorrow to start work 6 weeks early. He is exactly what this squad needs. When some of these players have been lazy, when some of these players are getting rewarded with holiday after holiday after holiday, you don't understand how many holidays these Man United players have had because we just keep rewarding them on holidays because it's too toxic in the dressing room, too many fights. You know, when the Man United players have got no work rate, they're lazy. And you can see that on the pitch. We're very unfit. We've had the most time off, the most problems. And you've got a manager like Ten Hag coming in saying, I'm not going on holiday. I'm here to get to business. Jesse Lingard didn't get his own way, didn't get his move to Newcastle. So he just had a 2-week holiday because international break. And then we're giving him another week holiday. You know, that's what our players are like. They don't get their way. They get a holiday. We've lost 4-0 to Brighton. Let's go on holiday. That's been Man United all season. Ten Hag is not here for holidays. Ten Hag is here to get to business. Ten Hag knows United is a mess. He knows he's got things to do. And Ten Hag is going to set an example. Not holidays, straight to business, straight to work. We know Ten Hag is going to make some big, brutal changes at Manchester United. And we're going to discuss them in a minute. We know Ten Hag is going to knuckle down. But Ten Hag coming here early, making it very clear he's going to change Manchester United. He's going to change the environment. We know from Ronny and Daily Blind telling United players, Ten Hag, he's strict. You've got to work hard. It's going to be tough. It's going to be different under Ten Hag. And Ten Hag's coming in early to probably see which players crumble. You know, he comes in early and he gets all strict on these players. He'll be able to suss them out. Who crumbles? Who's just not up to the mentality to work under Ten Hag? And who's got the potential. And if they crumble in, if they're saying after these couple of weeks where Ten Hag first comes in, if they're complaining about Ten Hag in these first couple of weeks, they're gone in the summer. This gives Ten Hag an opportunity to know the character of the squad. If you watch my video from the other day, it was about an interview Ten Hag did in 2018 where he learned about player mentality and player character. Ten Hag likes to know the mentality and character of his players. This could be Ten Hag's opportunity to suss out character. Who's going to be leaking? Who's not up to the work and all of that? And that is one of the big things I have to say. Make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe down below as well. He's coming 6 weeks early, as you said. A very interesting on developments. And Ten Hag will be at Crystal Palace. He won't be managing the game, but he will be at Selhurst Park. Paulo Dybala is available. We will be talking about that later in the show. Thank you very much. Nice to see people watching all the way in Ethiopia as well. And Eric Ten Hag coming in hot. These players need it, said Andrew. And you're absolutely spot on. These players need it. And only 67 likes for 100 likes, as Diego. So make sure you subscribe. Watched an interview this morning regarding Frenkie de Jong at Barcelona and some of the difficult Xavi's having implementing him a very precise way of playing. We will get into Frenkie de Jong later in the show. Again, another source from Barcelona basically confirming Frenkie de Jong will leave and all of that. I did do a video earlier today about how Frenkie de Jong would fit in at Manchester United. He obviously works under Eric Ten Hag's style of play and why we need de Jong, and we will be discussing that later in the show. But what I want to get into is obviously the news on Ten Hag coming early. So Ten Hag arrives tomorrow. Ten Hag will be in Manchester tomorrow. Hopefully he'll be able to even conduct some training sessions with the squad and all of that, even though Rangnick is still in charge to the end of the season. This gives Ten Hag, we know that Ten Hag wants to have one-on-one interviews with the players. We know Ten Hag wants to learn the dressing room dynamic. We know from former reports that, you know, basically Ten Hag knows the dressing room at United is fucked, and Ten Hag's number one priority is to figure out the dressing room, sort out the issues, because with reports coming out the other day about physical fights going on in the dressing room, apparently the fight was between Lingard and Maguire. I'm hearing from people the fight's between Lingard and Maguire, but I can't see anyone credible reporting that the fight's between Lingard and Maguire. So I just think someone's made up the fights between Lingard and Maguire because they don't like Lingard and Maguire, because Lingard and Maguire are probably the two players getting the most stick at the moment at United. I don't think the fight's actually between Lingard and Maguire, but that is what the rumour is. So do take that with a pinch of salt. I think that someone's made up that it's between Lingard and Maguire because they don't like them. But you never know who the fight is between. But there's been fights at Old Trafford. There's been fights at Carrington. There's been fights between players. There's been dressing room leaks. There's been beef. McTominay basically said the players didn't get along. Ragnick's basically said there's cliques in the dressing room. You know, there's a lot of beef and a lot of issues in the dressing room. And you can see when they play on the pitch, they don't like each other, the players. You can tell some of the players don't like each other. They can't play together. They're not interested in passing to each other. Ronaldo scores a goal and Maguire's got a frown on his face. Ronaldo scored a winning goal versus Norris Maguire. Why are you grumpy? You know, there's clearly a big dressing room divide and dressing room issues. And, you know, Ronaldo's come in and said, look, the standards of this club are way too low. And, you know, one of the reasons for the dressing room issues is because Ronaldo's gone and had a go at some of the players because their standards are too low. They're not trying. And these players, because they're not professional, because they don't have professional attitudes, when Ronaldo's going in on the players, criticising them for not trying, they turn on Ronaldo. You know, Ten Hag is going to go and give it. We know what Ten Hag's like. I've spoke about Ten Hag 100 times, what people around Ten Hag have said, what people who work with Ten Hag said. Ten Hag is strict. Ten Hag's got an elite mentality. If these players aren't performing well under Ten Hag, he's going to give it to them. He's going to absolutely give it to them. Ollie never gave it to the players. Ollie was nice. Ollie told the players what they wanted to hear. And look what they did to Ollie. Threw him under the bus. Spoil attitude. Ten Hag's going to be right down on the players, cracking down hard on those players. And if they can't take criticism from Ronaldo, who knows the mentality you've got to have to win it all at United, then some of these players will be gone in the next year under Ten Hag because they can't take criticism from Ronaldo. They can't take criticism from pundits. They ring up Rio Ferdinand, please don't criticise me. They block people on Twitter that give them the slightest bit of criticism. That is the mentality of some of the players. And Ten Hag is here to crack down on that. And if you're a player that if Ten Hag's criticising you and you don't like Ten Hag and you turn on Ten Hag and you decide you're not going to listen to Ten Hag's instructions because he's criticising you, then you'll be gone out the door. And that is exactly why we need Ten Hag to come in tomorrow, learn the squad, interview the squad, get to know the squad, who wants to play for United, who wants to go, get rid of the players that want to go, who's going to listen to him, who can't take criticism, who's going to throw him under the bus. It's exactly what we need. Him, you know, he could have gone to a party. Ten Hag could have had a holiday. He could have gone to a party and he's gone to work. That is the example we need for these players. He's going to say to those players, I could have had a holiday. I've just won a title, but I'm coming to work. You know, these players have won nothing, had a shit season. They make ridiculous money and they're going to have another holiday. Ten Hag is coming to United after winning something, having a good season. He's not taking a holiday. And it is the type of example that we need as well. Erik Ten Hag will need to clear out the deadwood and toxic elements. Even Pep and Klopp cannot coach up a certain footballer. I agree. The problems at Man United, we can all say this, are far beyond who the manager is. You know, not only has Ten Hag got to work under the Glazers, work in a very difficult, intense environment, toughest league, Man City and Liverpool, best teams in the world, toughest competition. But Ten Hag's got to work with players with bad attitudes that aren't good enough, spoilt, egotistical players that are throwing Ragnick under the bus. Some of these players are nasty. You know, some of the things that are coming out, apparently some things can't come out for legal reasons, and that it's worse than we think. You know, so much is going on behind the scenes at Man United and we don't even know the half of it. And Ten Hag's got to come into that environment and sort that out. It's a difficult job for Ten Hag, because I said this about United. We could get Pep Guardiola in tomorrow. We still wouldn't win the league next season. Pep Guardiola could have came in January and I still don't think we'd have got top four. Because when you've got players that are good enough to get top four, those players are good enough to get top four. They got second last year. They are better than Arsenal. They are better than Spurs. We know that. They're not playing better than them. West Ham are better than us. Norwich are better than us. Leeds are better than us. But because right now, because we're playing the worst, because we've got the worst attitudes. And it doesn't matter how good you are. It doesn't matter if you could bring FRENKIE, Dion, Tchouameni in. You could bring Mbappe in. If you've got some of these bad eggs still in the squad, there's going to be problems next year. And Ten Hag's got to be here to clear it out, because it's going to be hard for him to work with players that are bad eggs. And that's not Ten Hag's fault that there's bad eggs there. That is because Woodward and Judge deliberately gave players new contracts to increase their sell-on value. Bailly and Jones were not going to be used, were never played, didn't want to be here, got a new bumper contract and high wages to persuade them to stay, and they're not playing, they're unhappy, they're causing problems. Bailly's one of the players reportedly causing problems. Lingard, we forced to say promising game time. We didn't. He's one of the players causing problems. I mean, just today he's saying, oh, nice to see Martin Noble get a send-off. You know that's bitter from Lingard. Look, I'm always going to say about Jesse Lingard, I like Lingard. I think the club's treating him badly, and I would probably be bitter like Lingard, not getting a send-off, club treating me badly, club lying to me, getting no game time when everyone else has been shit. But at the end of the day, you're a professional footballer. You've got to keep your mouth shut. And the problem is at United, we've got so many players that we treated badly, given new contracts to, not played. So many issues. And Ten Hag's got to come in, and he's got to sort that out, and he's got a lot to do as well. Andrew said, sort of a blessing in disguise. We're losing so many players on the free, most of which we need to get rid of. I agree. Lingard, Mata, Matic, Cavani, Pogba going on a free. Phil Jones will probably go. Eric Bailly will probably go. Wan-Bissaka will probably go. I've heard from someone like an inside source that Wan-Bissaka is a bit of a troublemaker in the dressing room, but I don't know if that's true. So just take that with a pinch of salt. So I don't, you know, I've been told things that aren't true by people that claim they know things, but you never know. You never know. And who harmonises together, then they must be sorted out here before buying. Yeah, before we buy anyone, we need to sort out the squad exactly. Honestly, the Dutch winner will take charge. The good thing about Ten Hag is he's a winner. He's got a winning mentality and all of that. And I think with Poch, I think if we got Poch, the dressing, he'd be overruled in the dressing room. You know, Poch, one of the reasons Poch, even though we won the league with, which is literally like, you know, easy as fuck to win league earn. You know, he did win a trophy. He got overruled by the PSG dressing room, a lot of big names. And, you know, Poch is a bit of a yes man, I would say. I like Poch, but I think we'd be in problems if Poch came. He'd be a yes man. Ten Hag is very much like, I'm getting straight to work. I'm getting straight to business. I'm not here to fuck about. I won the Eredivisie. Next minute, Ten Hag calls a meeting. He's going to get FRENKIE Dion, get this player. Ten Hag does not want United to be taking a good 2 months to get deals done. Ten Hag is like, let's get to business. That is what Ten Hag's like at United. And that's what we need in the dressing room. Let's get to business, crack down, hard players. You know, these players, you know, the most important thing before we bring in a Dion or whoever we're going to bring in is to get the players together, get the players liking each other, get the players working together. And that is something that I think Eric Ten Hag could bring you. I think Poch, he would get overruled by powerful players, powerful attitudes. I think Ten Hag is the type of guy who's not going to let people overrule him. And I think United, Murta, and I will applaud Murta. Murta's been working really hard, flying back and forth from Amsterdam, watching the under-18s games. You know, it was Murta's decision to get Rangnick, Murta's decision to get Ten Hag, which is definitely the right decision. You can call Rangnick the wrong decision if you want, but we needed Rangnick to expose the problems and help higher up and push for Ten Hag. Rangnick knows how to do a rebuild. He's going to be giving some advice to Murta. But, you know, Murta's got in Ten Hag, and Murta knows from Rangnick, from everyone. I think United have woken up and realised, fucking hell, some of these players are trouble. You know, some of these players are only here because Woodward and Judge forced them to stay, forced the troublemakers to stay. And Murta's like, we need to get rid of the troublemakers. And I think Ten Hag, if players aren't listening to him, he'll be allowed to get rid of them. I think generally, United are at the point when I think it came out by like, maybe even Ten Hag or someone, I don't know who reported it, but it was saying that, you know, next season, no player is more important than Ten Hag. It doesn't matter who the player is. If they're not going to work for Ten Hag, if they don't want to be there, they're gone. You know, Harry Maguire at United, you know, for the last few years, I'm not saying that Harry Maguire's a problem. You know, Harry Maguire's been playing poorly. Harry Maguire shouldn't be captain, but I'm sure Harry Maguire isn't part of the dressing room issues. He wouldn't be captain. He wouldn't be starting week in, week out if he was causing issues. But Harry Maguire had it very, very easily under every manager. Starts week in, week out. Captain, never got dropped. I think under Ten Hag, if you underperform, you get dropped. I think no one's above Ten Hag. We know the club love Maguire. We know the club love Rashford. But if Maguire and Rashford aren't up to the standard, if Maguire and Rashford aren't listening to the instructions, John Murta's like, sell them. That's what I'm getting the indication from reports that, you know, John Murta, Rangnick, they've woken up. They're fed up with the players. The players are causing the problem. But if anyone here is just here to fuck about under Ten Hag, they are gone. Ten Hag will get rid of who he wants in the summer. He can't get rid of them all. But I think if there's people causing problems next season, I think Murta's just going to be like, yeah, you can fuck off. I don't care if you're Marcus Rashford. I don't think Marcus Rashford's causing problems in the dressing room. I want to say that, but I'm just using him as an example because United love Rashford. But I think Murta and Ten Hag will be like, I don't care if you're Marcus Rashford. If you're causing a problem, if you're not listening to instructions, fuck off. And I think that's what United need to do. I think some of these players, they feel too safe and powerful at United. Under Ronny, there were certain players, favourites, that play week in, week out, have high wages, always rewarded. always protected. I think under Ten Hag, you know, you're going to be exposed to less protection. If you are a troublemaker, you're going to get your criticism. You're not safe now. You're out if you're not good enough. And some of these players, I think they're too safe at United. Think they're never going to be sold, never going to be dropped because of who they are. They think they've made it because they had one good season. And actually, no, if you don't perform, if you don't listen to Ten Hag, you are gone. And I think that is the attitude Man United most definitely need as well. I back Ralf Rangnick. He's 100, like he's like a whistleblower. I back Ralf Rangnick. Don't think he's the best interim manager in the world, but I think we needed him to expose the problems. As Alice, why are we getting Kante? It's just a rumor that United would be interested in Kante. I don't actually think it will happen, but it is a rumor to keep an eye on. If there's any updates with the Kante situation, I will be live to let you know, but I'm not really sure what's going on with the Kante situation. If I'm being 100% honest, I just think it's a rumor, but if there's more in it, I will report it as well. Diego says, let's get Alice to 36,000 subscribers. So guys, if you are new, please subscribe. And Maguire will stay, but not as captain. You're spot on, Steve. Maguire will be here next season. It will be Bailly Jones going out, but I don't think Maguire will be captain as well. And Ten Hag is definitely a better option than Pochettino. If you're glad we got Ten Hag, and smash that like button, because Ten Hag actually starts tomorrow, which is brilliant. And I think we need Ten Hag to start tomorrow. Andrew says, we know the club would never let this many go in one summer. Luckily, many expiring contracts are out of their control. Exactly. You know, we've got 5 players 100% leading. There's Wan-Bissaka, Bailly, Jones and Martial, which could be 9 players leading who've been reported, even Dean Henderson 10. And if you can get 10 players out, it's brilliant. I know that there's the World Cup coming up. I know that there's the 5 sub rule next year, and depth is important, but get as many as there are out. At the end of the day, I'd rather have less players and less depth than keeping players here for the sake of it. They're going to cause problems as well. Definitely. Will Ten Hag be allowed to implement I don't know what you mean by that. Meritocracy. I'm either thick because I don't know what that means. That's the question. What's the difference this time? He also could force to play Maguire, Rashford, etc. Players like could betray him. I don't know what that first word meant, but I think United have changed. Well, I hope United have changed. You know, I think sacking Woodward, sacking Judge, sacking Marcel Bout, Jim Lawler, a lot of people in finance going, you know, there's been a complete restructure of the club. And this is the first rebuild where there's no Woodward and Judge. And I think that's a massive thing, because I think John Murtough, whether he's the best man for the job or not, you don't know. But what we do know about John Murtough is he's no Paul Mitchell, but we know John Murtough's trying. You know, with Woodward and Judge, were they really trying? They were only thinking about commercial value and stuff. John Murtough is trying. He's listening to Rangnick. You know, John Murtough hasn't got a foot wrong. John Murtough's first transfer window, the only thing he didn't do was get a CDM, and that's because Ollie didn't want a CDM. John Murtough got us Sancho, he got us Varane, he got us Ronaldo. John Murtough got us Ralf Rangnick. John Murtough got us Ten Hag. John Murtough is going to games, flying to Amsterdam. You know, we might be getting Frenkie de Jong. You know, I think this is a situation where United have got rid of Woodward, got rid of Judge. They've learnt their lessons from the last 9 years, and they want to change. They want to move forward. They want to make a difference. You know, Richard Arnold is Ed Woodward's replacement, and Richard Arnold says, I'm going to leave the footballing side of my job to Murtough, to Rangnick, to Darren Fletcher, who is he qualified to do the job? That's a question in itself. And that's something that I kind of admire about United, is this is the first rebuild where there's been a structure change. And for me, the fact that there's been a structure change, I think is definitely a positive. That, you know, I think United, you know, Murtough's doing his best. And we know Ralf Rangnick has been saying in press conferences about rebuilds. Ralf Rangnick talked about why Liverpool's rebuild was so successful. Ralf Rangnick says, you know, the most successful rebuilds are implementing the best coaches with the best recruitment. Ralf Rangnick spoke about how important recruitment is, how important team cohesion is, and all of that. And we know John Murtough's massively listening to Ralf Rangnick about rebuilds. We know that Ralf Rangnick's an expert in rebuilding clubs. And I think, you know, John Murtough's very much like, you know, John Murtough's allowed Ten Hag to bring in the coaching staff that he wants. Ten Hag might even be allowed to bring in a scout to Manchester United, which is massive. And John Murtough is literally told Ten Hag, you have the final say over incomings, outgoings, new transfers. And no other manager has had that power. And I'm hoping that United have learned their lesson. It's a complete new structure. They don't want to fail like the last structure, that they're like, we're going to give Ten Hag the power to implement his style of play, bring in the players he wants, bring in the coaches he wants. And so far, he's got the coaches he wants. So far, he'll be getting the players he wants. How long he'll be backed, how long the Glazers will spend money, that waits to be seen. But this is the first rebuild where United seem to actually be making a change, and actions speak louder than the words. They've got rid of a lot of people. They're bringing in a lot of people. And only time will tell if this is another failed rebuild or not. Only time will tell if United will actually change. But this is the first rebuild where there's definitely been good steps taken to make me think, okay, actually they are going to let Ten Hag play the way he wants. Oh, they're actually going to buy the Ten Hag, the players he wants. And as Rangnick said, if you get the best coaches, you bring in Ten Hag and all the best coaches, and you get the best recruitment, get the best players for them, then you've got a good rebuild. And now it's about recruitment. You bringing in Ten Hag, you bring in the coaches. Now it's about recruitment, getting rid of those bad eggs, getting those good players in. And it might take a year or two, or even 3 to get them players in. But now it's about, can we get the best possible recruitment at United as well? Got a Liverpool fan in here. Great. Nottingham Forest should be in the playoff final. I think they will play Huddersfield to see who goes up. I really want Nottingham Forest to go up on a different note. And Sancho was worked on for 2 years before Ronaldo and Varane fell into our laps last minute. Have to evaluate from here out. I do agree. And scouts to Manchester United, they could lead the way. Well, the thing is, Man United, and this is something that the Glazers will probably be quite interested in. If you look at Ajax, okay, the Ajax have brought loads of players cheap, and then they've sold them on for a lot more. Now, United, if I'm the Glazers, and I'm thinking about it in a commercial way, because the Glazers only think about this club in terms of profits. If you're the Glazers and the Glazers put their brain on, the Glazers are in a lot of debt. They're not actually good businessmen. But I would say to the Glazers, look, the thing about Ten Hag is if you get the best possible manager in and you back Ten Hag for multiple transfer windows, Glazers, you're actually going to make more money, because the higher up United finish, the more trophies we win, the higher league position, the more money the club makes. That's the more money for the Glazers. The more players you buy, the better we do, the more money you make from player sales. We don't make much money from player sales because they're playing poor. If you get in all these good players, all these good young players, if you get in the best recruitment team, so you're getting £12 million gems and selling them for 60 million, Glazers, you're going to be like Dortmund, you're going to be profiting. Let's get them good young players for cheap, good recruitment, sell them on for more. I'm saying to the Glazers, if you get the best recruitment in, I'm saying to the Glazers, if Ten Hag wins the league every league and you get the best recruitment in, and then you sell players for mad amount of money, you're going to make 10 times more money than you're making now. So from even a perspective of business, getting the best recruitment in actually helps the Glazers. And there was a report that actually the Glazers will be open to Ten Hag bringing in some of the Ajax recruitment scouts, because what Ajax have done is they found loads of hidden gems and sold them on for more. And actually, the Glazers are a big fan of that, that buy players cheap, sell them on more, which is a positive. I know that it's not the best ulterior motive for it, but it's definitely a positive. As well. Rangnick deserves a lot of praise. He called out the bullshit from the club and not giving fraud guard a send-off was the cherry on the cake, says Kruger. I'm really happy with what Ralph Rangnick has done at United. And look, I don't agree with Rio Ferdinand basically telling Rangnick to shut up. I think that Rio got that absolutely wrong. I will say that. I don't know why Rio Ferdinand is going in on Rangnick and all of that. And there's the reports from players saying, Rangnick's fault because he's calling us out. But I tell you what, we needed Rangnick to do that. I think the fact that Rangnick has publicly said, what we need to do in a rebuild, he's saying it's not just about changing the manager, you've got to do this, this and that. The thing that Rangnick has publicly said, he wanted a striker, he wanted a CDM, the board didn't listen. The fact that Rangnick has basically exposed that the players aren't listening to him. Rangnick has told us everything we knew. Like, we knew the players were throwing Rangnick under the bus because of the leaked reports blaming Rangnick and his coaches. They did that to Wally, they did that to Mourinho, they did that to Van Gaal, they blame everyone, these players. We knew that some of the players weren't listening to Rangnick's instructions. You could tell that. We knew that there was problems in the dressing room. And Rangnick's just gone, I'm not protecting these players. Martial wrote on Instagram that I was a liar when I didn't lie. Lingard wrote on Instagram that I'm a liar, and he didn't lie. These players have treated Rangnick like shit. Do you know what I mean? Rangnick says something, the Lingard goes on Instagram, basically calls Rangnick a liar publicly. Martial went on Instagram and was like, I never said that. Falls out with Rangnick, I like that Rangnick doesn't keep his mouth shut, because our players care more about social media and how they look and wanting people to like them and PR than they do on the pitch. They've shown more fight in the dressing room fights than they have on the pitch. United having fights in the dressing room, United having fights in training. Why can't they fight on the fucking pitch? Why can't they show some fight then? They're fighting with each other because there's some jealousy. Oh, he's got a better PR deal than me. He's got a better influence deal than me. They're fighting with Rangnick. If only they could show that kind of passion on the pitch, infuriates me. But I love how Rangnick is like, I'm not here to be Ollie. Ollie, whether you like Ollie or not, Ollie did not help these problems. Ollie protected these players. Ollie was too nice to these players. Ollie gave these players what they wanted. Ollie gave these players an easy life. When Rangnick came in and the going got tougher, when Ronaldo came in and he demanded the standards improved, they crumbled. They fell out with Ronaldo because he criticised some of them for not training hard enough, so they turned on him. Instead of listening to Ronaldo going, he knows how good you've got to be to win at United, they criticised him. They didn't like him because he told them how it was. Players ringing up Rio Ferdinand, Gary Neville saying, don't criticise me. You're playing shit. It is your job. You deserve to be criticised. You don't deserve abuse, but if you're playing poor, you deserve to be criticised. If you're ringing out pundits telling them not to criticise you, if you're leaking stuff to the media week in, week out, blaming Rangnick instead of yourself for the 4-0 Brighton and all these losses, if you're getting angry at Ronaldo because he's telling you to do better, then oh my God, you're not going to survive 1 minute under Ten Hag. You won't survive 1 minute. Because Ten Hag is here and he is just going to be like, you shit. If Ten Hag is a brutal manager, we know that. And if you're not here to work under Ten Hag, if Ten Hag criticises you and instead of actually going, okay, I want to be better, I want to prove Ten Hag wrong, you go to the media, you bitch about Ten Hag, you turn on Ten Hag and you refuse to listen to his instructions, then you're out the door. You know, you're not going to be prioritised because of who you are. You're a big name, you're on big wages. You've got to learn to take criticism. You've got to get that elite mentality. And we do not have an elite mentality. We crumble. The tiniest bit of criticism, the squad just crumbles. It cries. You know, and Manchester United need to step up. These players, they need to step up. And Ten Hag, we know from players that have worked under Ten Hag, when Ten Hag came into Utrecht, when he started managing Utrecht, one of the things that he did was he instilled a winning mentality. The standards went up. Ten Hag was much stricter on them. Former players that played under Ten Hag said that he was very demanding. He was much stricter than what they're previously used to. But what Ten Hag did say, what Ten Hag did do is he installed a winning mentality. The intensity went up, the demands went up. It's a hard change. It was a big change. It was a lot harder. But it's what the players needed, and it's exactly what United players need. They're getting holidays. They lost 4-0 to Brighton. Okay, let's just go on holiday. It's so toxic. Rangnick, it just doesn't know what to do with the players. The players are so toxic. The players are so bad that Rangnick doesn't know what to do. He's just giving them a holiday. He can't deal with it. You know, you need a mentality like Ten Hag to just be like, get out. If you're not going to listen, get out. Poch, if you come in, he would have been overruled. There is too much player power. There is too much player protection. There's too many bad egos. If you don't listen to the instructions, you're out. If you're doing dressing reports, you're out. If you're making a fuss, you're out. The mentality should be of these Man United players, I've not been good enough this season. It's not just everyone else's fault. It's my fault as well. It's everyone's fault. It's not one player. It's not Maguire's fault we've had a bad season. He's been poor. It's not his fault. It's not McTominay's fault we've had a bad season. He's been poor, but it's not his fault. It's not one individual player's fault. They're all to blame, but they're all blaming each other. I don't see a single player coming out and taking responsibility. They're fighting because they're blaming each other. The leaks were saying there's fights in the dressing room because one player is accusing another player of not training hard enough. You've all been crap apart from Ronaldo and De Gea this season. Fred's had good moments, Sanchez had good moments, Varane's had good moments, but at the end of the day, you've all been crap but Ronaldo and De Gea this season. So stop blaming each other, stop fighting with each other and accept some responsibility. That's exactly what these players need to do. Stop leaking things. Stop blaming Rangnick. Every single manager has gotten some blame and take some responsibility. And that is what we need to instill. You know, the players need to learn to listen to instructions. The players need to step up. The players need to take responsibility. And the players need to take criticism on the chin. I don't want to see players ringing up Rio Ferdinand telling him not to criticise them after they lose 4-0 to Brighton. You think after losing 4-0 to Brighton, you don't deserve to be criticised. Manchester United fans travelled all the way to Brighton. You know, a lot of Man United fans don't earn a lot of money and all their spare money goes on watching their favourite team play, travelling down to see their team play. They travel all that way. They pay all that money to watch their team play and they see some of their team not even running, not even trying. It doesn't matter if we win, lose or draw. These Man United players still make the same amount of money if we win, lose or draw. Still make the exact same amount of money, okay? They still go back to their nice houses, their big paychecks, while these fans risk a lot coming to watch us and then they watch that and they watch you not try. And they spend a lot of money. They spend a lot of time seeing that. It doesn't matter for you. You still making 300 grand a week. And then you'll ring up Rio saying, please don't criticise me, Rio. You deserve to be criticised because when you play for Man United, when you put on the shirt of Man United, if you don't give it your all, it is criminal. Playing for Manchester United is giving it your all, giving it your best. Guys, please do hit that like button if you have not already. And of course, subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new. If you do want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, updates and more, please do subscribe. Will Ten Hag have a chat with youngsters like Hannibal and Garnacho? It's been reported that James Garner, Garnacho and Hannibal Mejbri are three youngsters Ten Hag is really enjoys watching and wants to take on pre-season and work with. So I assume that will be the case as well. Elanga has worked his socks off for the team. I agree. The thing is, Elanga's not the best player. But Elanga is playing week in, week out because he's one of the only players that will listen to Ralph Rangnick and run around and work his socks off. Is Elanga the best player? No. Is Elanga Man United quality? Time will tell. He's young. He could be Man United quality. But in a team, you need a player that's going to work hard. You can have all these great individuals. Man United have 11, 12 great individuals. Look at them. Look at the team. It's a mess. At the start of the season, we're going Bruno, Pogba, Ronaldo, Sancho, Varane, Martial, Greenwood, Rashford, Cavani. You're thinking, fucking hell. We're stacked on talent. And look at us. We're shit. Because we have all these big names and if they can't play together, they can't listen to the instructions and they can't run around and try, you're not going to perform. You're not going to get top four. A player like Elanga, he's not the best player, but he's one of the few players listening to Rangnick as well. And all of that. Thoughts on Ten Hag wanting Kante? Look, I think Kante's past his best, but he's definitely an improvement on look Fred. I would definitely take him as well. And Andrew said, what Rio said is baffling, keeping silent and protecting the board since Sir Alex Ferguson has only led up to our decline. The fact that Rio Ferdinand was protecting the Glazers, saying Rangnick shouldn't be talking out on all of that was a load of crap. And Nick Morris said, United made a 65 million bid for Dion yesterday, according to Blaugrana, who reports Barcelona news. Yeah, Laurie Whitwell said that Manchester United are in progress for a deal with Dion. I think, look, I will say, I haven't touched much on Frenkie de Jong to Manchester United. Let me take a quick drink of water. Man United are working on the deal for De Jong. Xavi basically confirmed yesterday that De Jong will probably have to leave Barcelona due to financial issues. The sporting director of the sporting director of Barcelona spoke about Frenkie de Jong, and he was like, yeah, we'd like to keep Frenkie. Yeah, he's a good player, but obviously, there's financial fair play. There's a situation going on. Like, it's basically kind of been confirmed that De Jong is leaving Barcelona. We know from Laurie Whitwell, a very tier one reliable source. If something comes from Laurie Whitwell or David Ornstein, it's basically coming from the source, from the mouth. It's spot on. And they're saying we're in works for De Jong. I'm sure that United are interested in getting De Jong. I've said this about Frenkie de Jong. If De Jong wants to come to Man United, he'll come. If De Jong says, no, I don't want to come to United, I don't want to be in Europa League, you won't be here. But I think it's very likely something will happen with De Jong to United. The deal's going on now. United are working on it. Barcelona have to sell. It's very likely. Ten Hag wants it done. United, Mercer, Ten Hag, they want to get right to business. They don't want to be stalling deals. In the past, United have taken months on deals. We want to get this deal done by June. Barca want to get this deal done by June because they need to balance the books by June so they can register Kessie and Christensen and bring in Lewandowski, who's confirmed he's losing even Bayern Munich. Barcelona pushing De Jong out. United pushing for De Jong. If PSG come in and want De Jong, we might be in trouble. He could go to PSG. But as it stands, De Jong is set to sign for United. But it's not done. It's not complete yet. What I will say is do subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed, because if you do want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, updates and more, make sure you subscribe because I will give you updates on Frenkie de Jong. It's the minute there's an agreement, the minute there's a contract signed, the minute there's an official bid confirmed by like Laurie Whitwell or Fabrizio Romano, I'll be live. The minute something happens with De Jong, the minute the De Jong deal's done, the minute there's an agreement, if De Jong agrees personal terms, that means the deal will be done. The minute something happens with De Jong to United, I will be live. So do make sure you subscribe because I go live every single evening, keeping you guys up to date on all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, updates and more. Short videos during the day, live streams during the night. So if you do want to stay up to date with all the latest transfer news, do subscribe as well. But just thought I'd touch on De Jong as well. 65 million, too much for De Jong. I think 60 million for De Jong is a pretty fair price. Barcelona paid, I think, more than 60 million and all of that. Nick says De Jong will come. Ten Hag knows him and want to work with him again. I agree. Andrew says Kante's declining and a bit more injury prone. Plus, we know Chelsea only sell players they're keen to get rid of, like Matic. I agree. Look, I like Kante, but I think he's only a short-term option. He's only got a season or two in him. I'd only take Kante on a cheap. And Rashford's already demanding things, the Manchester superstar born and bred. If I don't agree with Rashford demanding game time. Rashford hasn't been good enough. Rashford's got to earn game time, not demand it, definitely. Look, guys, I've always said Frenkie de Jong will be a perfect signing for United. He's got no weaknesses. He's much better than McTominay. I know he's not a like for like replacement for Paul Pogba, but he's very technically gifted. He's very intelligent. I think United needs someone that can progress the ball. We know Frenkie de Jong is in the 95th percentile for top midfielders for ball progression. I think accurate passes, progressive carries, just all stuff like that. And, you know, with United playing as individuals, we are individual FC, we are Moments FC. United do not play as a team. You know, we just, you know, we don't play as a team. You know, Dion is very much a team system player, and I think that's something we need. And Ten Hag is very much built on system. You know, one of the reasons Ten Hag is so successful at Ajax is he's built a system like Pep has, and every player has a role in the system, and every player's got to run around a lot and work hard and be got an IQ and technically gifted. And De Jong has that, and a lot of Man United players don't. And, you know, I think that Ten Hag might not get top 4 in his first season at United, and I think Ten Hag's a brilliant manager. But we've got so many players that are not fit enough, not suited to Ten Hag's system, have been so used to playing as an individual that it's going to be a big adaptation for a lot of United players. When Ollie basically said to United players, sit back, counter-attack, rely on individual brilliance. Ten Hag is a system, patterns of play, passes, ball carrying, progression, running around, high intensity, high attack, you know, defend. You know, it's so different under Ten Hag to Ollie that, you know, I think you need a player like Frenkie de Jong that, you know, is versatile, technically gifted, high energy. It's exactly what United need. If United not signed him quick up, you know, City will catch him and replace Kevin De Bruyne with De Jong. De Jong's not really a De Bruyne replacement, but City need a midfielder. United need to watch out for City, but Haaland reportedly costing really 200 million. I think might delay City in getting De Jong, but United need to hurry up and get De Jong before other teams might wake up and put in a deal for it. We need a CDM, I agree. I've always said, well, I think Frenkie de Jong is a fantastic addition to Manchester United. They need to get a CDM as well, and I think Ten Hag wants to rebuild that Ajax team with Donny and De Ligt and De Jong. Yeah, possibly we have been linked to De Ligt from decent journalists as well. I do actually want to get into what Ten Hag said, because I completely realised in the first 5 minutes of the video I was going to address Ten Hag's interview, and I haven't. I haven't actually read out what Ten Hag said. Ten Hag had an interview today. He spoke about United. He spoke about the dressing room. I haven't even got into it. I've been blabbing on so much that I actually quickly want to get into that. So this was reported by ESPN and the European Lad, who is obviously a source of Ajax news, tweets Ajax news and stuff. And he said, basically, Erik Ten Hag was asked if he's going to go on holiday with the Ajax squad. And Erik Ten Hag said, this is what Erik Ten Hag said, it's time to turn the switch now. It's something that is needed because I've got a lot to take care of and I have the energy for it. Ten Hag has said he's not going on holiday. The whole of the Ajax squad, the whole of the Ajax staff are going to a Dutch island and the Caribbean on holiday to celebrate winning the Eredivisie. And Ten Hag said, you know, his contract's being terminated 6 weeks early. He needs to get to work at United. There's a lot to do at United and he's got the energy for it and he's not going on holiday, he's going straight to work, which I think is a great example. Ten Hag was also asked if he's ready for the English media. And Ten Hag says, I don't see them like that, as in like he doesn't see the English media like sharks. Ten Hag says what it's all about at United and what he's probably most worried about sorting is the dressing room. He said, as a manager, I need to be able to manage the dressing room. You need to make it function. That's how you win games. And Ten Hag said in his interview, you know, he's not worried about the media. He said what it's all about is the dressing room. It's not about what the media thinks, not about what the media say. Ten Hag said, as a manager, it's about the dressing room, being able to manage the dressing room and make it function. And Ten Hag's absolutely right, because Ten Hag will know, Ragnick knows, we all know, the biggest problem at United right now is the dressing room. It's the biggest problem by a long, long way. And, you know, Ten Hag's kind of saying that in his interview. Ten Hag can't go, the Man United dressing room's a mess and that's why I'm going early. You know, Ten Hag can't say, oh, the reason I'm coming to United early is because the dressing room's a mess. I need to make it function. I need to make it work before the beginning of the season. But Ten Hag's basically saying he's going to United early. There's a lot to sort out. And then he's saying, as a manager, the biggest thing is not the media, it's the dressing room. And that is enough. You know, it's Ten Hag cleverly basically saying, fucking hell, the dressing room's a mess. I need to sort it out, isn't it? Ten Hag said tomorrow there will be a party with the Ajax staff. He's not going. He needs to go to Manchester United because there's a lot of work to do. And he said that is the case of every club, which again, he's absolutely spot on. And Ten Hag said there's a number of things he needs to work on. He still needs to be organised. He needs to sort out his staff collection. He will be working intensively from tomorrow. So Ten Hag himself has confirmed he'll be working intensively at United from tomorrow. We know Ten Hag will not only be working intensively at United from tomorrow, but we know Ten Hag will be going to the Crystal Palace game. He'll be going to Carrington tomorrow. Ten Hag has to sort out the staff he brings in. Ten Hag's got to get to know the players. You know, Ten Hag's got a lot to do, and I understand why he hasn't gone on holiday, because Ten Hag's not only got to get to know the players, find the root of the dressing room issues, sort out the dressing room issues, find which players want to stay, want to go, see which players are going to crumble under his high demands and stuff. But, you know, he's got to get staff in, he's got to get players in, he's got to rebuild a club. There's a lot of players going, you know. This is probably going to be, and probably will be, Manchester United's biggest transfer window in a long time. And not only will it be our biggest transfer window in a long time, but it's also where we've probably got the biggest problems in the dressing room in a long time, and he's got to come in and he's got to sort all of that out. And Ten Hag's got a lot to do, and I really admire how Ten Hag is just ready to just be like, boom, I've just got to get to business, get down to it, because he's absolutely right. He's just got to get to business and get down to it. He's not here to F about, and I think with all these players taking holidays and things aren't going their way, and Ten Hag started work when he could have had 6 more weeks off, I think we'll set a great example to the player. It's been confirmed Ten Hag will start work tomorrow. It's been confirmed that Ten Hag has terminated his contract with Ajax, and it's been confirmed that Ten Hag, by Fabrizio Romano, that Ten Hag arrives in Manchester tomorrow. So Ten Hag's first day is tomorrow. He arrives tomorrow, which is exactly what we need as well. Guys, please do hit that like button if you haven't not already. We're 93 likes away from 300 likes, so please hit that like button if you have not already. And of course, subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new. If you do want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, updates, and more, please do subscribe to Alice Talks Football for daily Manchester United news and update shows. I go live every single evening on the channel, keeping you up to date with all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news. If we get any updates on Dion, we get any more updates on ins and outs, I'll be live. The minute we know someone's leaving or joining, I will be live as well. People are saying it's unclear whether it'll be Erik Ten Hag or Rangnick in charge of Man United versus Crystal Palace, but there are reports coming out that Erik Ten Hag could actually be in charge of the Crystal Palace game, which I think is a madness. I'm not sure if that will happen as well. And Xavi has come out and said that this week we will plan and decide everything based on the economic situation. So we've got 2 reports that have just come out now as I've started my live, that Erik Ten Hag could actually manage the Crystal Palace game, but that's come from the Mirror. And then also that Xavi's basically said that the decisions at Barcelona will be made this week, you know, who they need to sell and stuff as well. Erik Ten Hag was asked about starting work at Manchester United, and Erik Ten Hag's come out today to the Mirror and said that he is switching work very rapidly, but lots of things need to be done and all of that, but it's unclear whether Ten Hag will work soon. The Mirror also said that Ten Hag has told close friends that he wants to work with Ronaldo and his stats cannot be ignored. And according to Ten Hag, he wants Ronaldo to stay and see out the final year of his contract. So Ronaldo looking likely to stay, Ronaldo pictured in the new kit, Ronaldo talking positively of Ten Hag, reports saying that Ronaldo's set to stay. So a lot of news coming out as well, and that will definitely be discussed a lot more in tomorrow's live stream. So do make sure you subscribe and all of that. Prince says fullbacks are so key to Ten Hag's system. How we play with Shaw, Tellers, Wan-Bissaka, Delo will be interesting. I think United need to sign at least 1 fullback this summer. Fullback's such a key part of Ten Hag's system, and I think it's while CDM is our biggest weakness, while the midfield is a weakness that needs to be addressed before anything, we still need it. It's fullbacks. You're 100% spot on. You know, I think that's why. I think maybe. And people will think I'm mad. I think Luke Shaw could work under Ten Hag. Look, we can come back to this in a year and Luke Shaw could have been our worst player and we might be selling Luke Shaw. We could come back to this in a year and go, Luke Shaw's had a good season again. You know, he's found his form again. But I do think, I know Luke Shaw's got a poor injury record, but I think Luke Shaw could work under Ten Hag. Ten Hag's coaching team will be announced this week. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Steve McLaren and Mitchell van der Gaar, but someone else could join as well. Must keep Ronaldo, says Steve. I agree, and Ronaldo is set to stay. Raid leads for Rafinha and Phillips. Look, I take Rafinha and Phillips, but I'm not actually the biggest fan of Rafinha. And I take Phillips for 25 million, but no more. But I think if Leeds go down, there's a good opportunity to get some decent players for not too much. Ralph probably will let Erik Ten Hag do any decision he wants. Well, yeah, Ten Hag will probably make decisions within region. The promise of the new manager is that Ten Hag will be allowed to make decisions. Both fullbacks are shite. Yeah, most of our fullbacks are crap, and Tellers is probably our worst as well. I'm at the point where I'm like, play Alvaro Fernandez. Under 23's player of the season. Alvaro Fernandez, honestly, I would play him at this rate as well. Tired of overrated English players, I agree. I think a lot of English players are overpriced, not overrated, but I think United, what they do is if you're an academy British player, you're instantly overrated. I think if Scott McTominay and Marcus Rashford were like French, I just think that they wouldn't be getting the treatment they got. I think the media would be a lot more harsh on them. And I like Rashford and I like McTominay. I think McTominay could be a bench player. I don't think he'll ever be good enough to start for United, but I think McTominay's got a good attitude, and I think he's one of the least of the problems that we have. But what I will say about McTominay is, if McTominay wasn't an academy player, and if McTominay was French, do you really think he'd be playing for a top Premier League club? No, I don't think he would. If Marcus Rashford was French and didn't do all that charity stuff, do you think he'd be getting the treatment he gets? Probably not. I mean, Rashford's had a lot of abuse, but what I mean is, Martial will go for a poor period and Rashford will go for a poor period, and they'd all talk about Martial. Now, I like Rashford. I think that Rashford could find form under Ten Hag and be a good player again, but I think Rashford and McTominay are two players where if we're sitting here in a year's time saying Rashford and McTominay have had another crap season, they'll probably need to go. And I think because they're academy players, they've got that little bit more protection. And I think, as a fan base, we do protect our academy players more. And I think the media do. But I think United have got to be like, it doesn't matter if you're an academy player, it doesn't matter if you're British. If you're not good enough, you need to go. And I've always said, look, I like Marcus Rashford. I'm happy for him to stay another season, but he has been crap lately. And Marcus Rashford definitely needs to up his game as well. United need to reshape their defence and their midfield. Scott is not even a top half Premier League mid, and I do agree with that. I think Scott McTominay has got a good attitude. While he could be a bench player, I don't think he's good enough for a top Premier League side. I think he's a bottom. I generally think he's a Brentford midfielder, because I think most teams we've played have beat us in midfield, and Scott McTominay's played as well. Love this channel, Alice. Hope United come back to glory. Thank you very much, Prince, for the super chat. I really appreciate it. And I hope Ten Hag can bring us back to glory, and we give him the backing, and we get rid of the bad eggs and all of that. Fred is a good player more than the others this season. De Gea saves United from second division. Honestly, Fred, our best players. Okay, if I had to name our 5 best players this season, and to name 5 is mad. Ronaldo's been one of our best players. De Gea's been one of our best players. And then probably Fred. And then maybe Varane and Sancho have had good moments. They're probably our 5 best players. To be on that list is not hard. To be on that list is not an achievement because everyone's been crap. But I think everyone else has been awful this season. Absolutely awful as well. Lewandowski to United, unlikely, especially if we keep Ronaldo. I think Lewandowski is Barcelona bound, which is why Barcelona are hoping to obviously sell De Jong to us. A lot of United players need a good rest and recharge. Been a lot of football over the last few years and not much time off, really. I agree and I disagree. I think that United players need a good few weeks holiday to get different mindset. I think if they have a few weeks off, they can come back in a sharper, better mindset. But at the same time, these United players have had so many holidays. 4-0 Brighton will give them a break. Ollie gave them a break when things got bad. Ragnick's given them a break. These Man United players have had about 3 weeks off more than any other team in the Premier League, because we've got so many problems in the dressing room and at training that Ragnick's just going to give them time off. We can't train like this. It's too bad. Kurt says, Alice, that's the issue. It's not about being on form. If you have bad spirit people that don't want to perform, lifting for fights will not solve much things. Look, I agree, it's not always about current form, but it's about attitude as well. Ronaldo, De Gea, Fred, Matic. Oh, yeah, Matic has actually been all right, to be fair. Kamara's on a free. We should get him. I agree as well. I think if you're spending 60 million on Dion, we've only got another 30 million to get a CDM with, because you've got to also get a striker and a fullback in and a centre-back in if you've got Bailly and Jones leading. That I think, Kamara on a free would be a good option because he is a CDM as well. And I think while Frankie de Jong's a brilliant option, that's a Pogba replacement. You need to replace Matic. We needed a CDM when we currently have Matic. And with Matic going, we need a CDM more than ever. And the good thing about Erik ten Hag is he's been watching Man United. Manchester United. Actually, let me just take a sip of water before I get into this. But basically, Murta and Manchester United have basically all been saying, oh, we need a striker. Striker's a priority. They've talked to Ten Hag, all of a sudden midfield's a priority. This is the United problem. They've not seen midfield as a priority the last 3 seasons when it has been. And before they spoke to Ten Hag, striker was the priority position. They speak to Ten Hag, he's like, I need 2 midfielders. Not 1, I need 2. I need to replace Pogba, I need to replace Matic. And De Jong and Kamara, brilliant. My dream would be De Jong, Tchouaméni, Osimhen, Timber, and, a Lamptey would be my dream chancellor. Never going to happen. But Ten Hag's come in and said, yeah, that midfield needs sorting. Ten Hag's watched us and seen the midfield as a problem. Ollie just thought, Scott and Fred can do a job. Let's get another attacker in, even though we've got 55 million. Whereas, Ten Hag's watched us and seen midfield's an issue, which is brilliant because, everyone else at United thinks that striker is a bigger issue than midfield. And we do need a striker, but, geez, the midfield is just crap. Bellingham or De Jong, probably De Jong, more established. Bellingham's a good player. But I think he wouldn't even come to us. Selling Henderson to Newcastle. Yeah, Dean Henderson is rumoured for a Newcastle move. I will get into the transfer news here. So, Newcastle have intensified their interest in Manchester United goalkeeper Dean Henderson. Where's that music coming from? I don't know. Someone's playing music. Manchester United have intensified their... Newcastle... fucking hell. Mirror has said that Newcastle are interested in Dean Henderson. The Mirror has said that Dean Henderson would like to seek a move away from Old Trafford unless he's guaranteed game time. United could get 20 million for Dean Henderson. Romano said that Man City actually approached Paul Pogba and wanted to sign Paul Pogba, but Pogba told Man City no. I said about the Pogba Man City rumours. I said this about Paul Pogba. I said The media like to make Paul Pogba out to be some kind of problem. The media don't like to make Paul Pogba out in a positive light. I said, whether you like Paul Pogba or not, Paul Pogba does like Man United. Whether you believe Pogba likes Man United or not, Pogba likes Man United. Pogba is a Man United fan. Pogba would never go Man City. And Romano's basically said the same. So Pogba's also rejected Man City. Pogba likely to go to Juventus. And the Barca sporting director again came out and said that Frenkie's a massive player, but, you know, because of financial fair play, he might need to be sold. So that's the Barcelona sporting director basically saying, oh, well, Frenkie de Jong might actually need to be sold as well, which I think is a very interesting report. Guys, please do subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new. If you do want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news and more, please do subscribe. I have an upload coming out at midday tomorrow, just a short upload talking about Ten Hag's plans, what's going to change, the long-term plans, Ten Hag's first day, what could be happening on Ten Hag's first day. And then I will be live tomorrow. If there's any news that comes out tomorrow, I will cover that in my live stream tomorrow. Obviously, United are working on a deal for Dion. It came out yesterday from the very reliable Laurie Whitler that United are working on a deal for Dion. So I'm sure there's going to be Dion updates coming in the next week. So if a deal's agreed, if a bid is made, if personal terms are agreed, if a deal is done, I will be live. So if you want to know the minute there's a big update with Dion, make sure you subscribe because I will be live. We'll do a video to update you on Dion. I will be live if there's any big transfer news that comes ins and outs, and I will be live tomorrow night to keep you up to date on all the latest transfer news, new updates and more. So please do subscribe to the channel if you're new. I've also got another video coming out in a couple of days. It's a short video talking about how Man United could line up next season, looking at the potential players we want to bring in and looking at players we might leave, how we line up next season. So there's transfer news updates, there's short videos, there's lots to talk about in the coming days at United, which will be exciting as well. It's come out from the Mirror that Erik ten Hag's main concern at Manchester United is he wants to build a good squad at Manchester United and feels like he's got to be involved in talks and negotiations with current United players and those who United intend to sign. It's come out that Ten Hag's priority is sort of just a positive vibe in the dressing room and all of that as well. And that Erik ten Hag, you know, just wants to get United a good vibe again. It looks like Erik ten Hag's priority is to just get a good vibe at United and all of that as well. Please do hit that like button, guys. Please do subscribe if you're new. As I said, we need a team. We need team players not playing for themselves. I agree. I 100% agree. That's a really good comment. United in the past, I think, have had a lot of players that play for themselves, play, you know, stat padders, play to score goals and all of that. And I think we need players that will play as a team, system players. And this is what I say about Anthony Elanga. He's not the best player in the world, but I don't get why he gets so much hate because at least you know with Anthony Elanga that he's going to listen. He's a young player. He can improve and he's going to listen to instructions. We need team players. I don't think Anthony Elanga is brilliant. I think Ahmad's better. I think Rashford's better, but they're not playing better. Well, Rashford certainly isn't. You need players that are going to listen, players of the team. Tchouameni's far-fetched. I'd love Tchouameni, but unrealistic. Andrew said we put off DM for years and years. Carrick had to play into old age and Matic was already declining when we got him. Exactly. And I don't know why we've neglected the DM so much. It's the most important position, in my opinion. Midfield's the most important. Defence is poor, but midfield is like no other midfield. Our defence suffers. And yeah, the midfield should be the number one priority at Manchester United because games are won and lost in midfield. And a lot of people don't realise this. Yes, our defence is crap, but even when Maguire's not playing, we still concede lots of goals. It doesn't matter who's playing in defence, we still concede lots of goals because our defence gets no protection from the midfield. Our midfield is open. Honestly, I watched Norwich. Man City have a harder job breaking down Norwich than United. Teams, whoever it is, Brighton, City, Liverpool, Southampton, Wolves, they just run through our midfield. Our midfield gets dominated. Not only is our midfield poor at ball progression, we can't play as a team. The midfield can't bring the ball from defence to attack because the midfield can't pass. Our midfield can't pass, but our midfield can't protect the defence. So the defence is open, it's always exposed. And one of the reasons our defence is so poor is because our midfield's not good enough. And a lot of people don't realise that. One of the reasons we conceded so many goals isn't actually the centre-backs' fault, it's the fucking midfield for giving them no protection. So not only can our midfield not pass forward, but they can't protect the defence. So they can't do anything. It's the weakest position on the pitch as well. Midfield number one priority. And the big thing about Frenkie de Jong is he's in the 95th percentile for passes or pass accuracy or the 90th percentile or something. Frenkie de Jong is one of the best passers in football, best progressive ball carriers, and we don't have that. Fred doesn't give that. Tomola doesn't give that. No one gives that. And that is why Frenkie de Jong would be so important at United as well. Hannibal should play under Ten Hag. I agree. I think Ten Hag's a man manager, which I think is what United need. I agree as well. And De Jong played in a pivot under Erik ten Hag and even was a centre-back for a spell in his youth academy. De Jong's a very, very versatile player, very versatile, which I think is why and Ten Hag likes him as well. Stop putting 5 at the back like absolute coward. I hate 5 at the back. We won't see that under Ten Hag. But you also need better wingers after fixing the midfield and defence. I feel like Sancho ain't showing much and Rashford is kind of garbage. We definitely need a winger, but I think that we've seen positives in Sancho. He's not been consistent, but I think we'll see the best out of Sancho next year as well. 170 mil budget. Let's hope for the best. The reported budget is £170 million, which is a pretty good budget, and hopefully that is correct. Look, 2 midfielders, 2 attackers, a centre back and a fullback. We need 6 players. We need a fullback. We need a centre back. We need 2 attackers, one a winger, 1 a striker, and we need a CDM and a box to box. You know, for me, if it was FIFA, if I was in charge of this transfer window, I'll be buying Frenkie de Jong. This is not realistic. This will never happen. But if I had the powers and I could convince any player to come to United, well, I'd sign Mbappe. But look, I would sign Frenkie de Jong. I'd sign Tchouaméni. Tchouaméni won't come. But we need a player like Tchouaméni. Maybe Kamara. I know he's not as good, but do you know what I mean? Then I'd be looking at a striker. Maybe I'd go for Osimhen. There is Darwin Núñez. I'm not convinced on him, though. Then you need a winger. I'd be looking at Elise or even someone like Jared Bowen, who would be ridiculously overpriced. And then you're looking at a fullback. Lamptey's a name that springs to mind. And then you'd be looking at centre-back, Timber and Dika. United needs 6 positions. I generally believe that, but you really have to wait and see what United do. United should not advertise the transfer budget. I know people are going to make us spend ridiculous money as well. 170 million is 2 Maguires plus 10 million to spend. Something, honestly. Jules Koundé is a good player, but I think he'll be on the pricey side, like 60 odd million. Which, if you're spending 60 million on De Jong, do you want to spend 60 million on a centre back when you've got an 80 million and 40 million pound centre back already at the club? I think the midfield, if you sort the midfield out, I don't think you need to spend as much money on the defence. I generally think if we get a CDM and De Jong in and we sort the midfield out, and you've got Garner coming back and Donny coming back and all of that, if we sort the midfield out, we won't need to spend that much money on the defence, because one of the reasons the defence is so bad is because he gets no protection from the midfield as well. But I think midfield needs to be fixed before anything, and I think we'll get a better defence because of it. And we do need a striker, though. We are lacking the depth. You know, we're playing a front three of Mata, Elanga, Ronaldo at the moment. Of course, we need an attacker. We need 2 midfielders and an attacker before we need to defend down. People will call me crazy. We conceded 5 goals on 4 goals, and we have our worst defensive record yet. But I generally believe the midfield is a big part of that poor defensive record. I do like Basuma, but I don't think United are really looking at him as well. Harry Kane's a brilliant player, but too much money, isn't he? De Jong, Lemar, I know that none of them are out-and-out CDMs, but I think in a 4-2-3-1 pivot, they would complement each other well, so I'm not against that either. Who would buy Maguire? Newcastle, 25 million, 30 million. I don't think Maguire will go. I think we need to get rid of Jones and Bailly first. I don't think you get rid of 3 centre-backs in one window. Maguire will maybe go next season if he's not performing and all of that, but I think Maguire will be here next season. Guys, I'm going to wrap up today's live stream. It's been a really good live stream, so thanks everyone for tuning in today's live stream. I should be back at midday tomorrow with an upload. There should be a midday upload out tomorrow, so do make sure you're subscribed for that, because I want to make a video on how Ten Hag is going to improve United, his plans going forward and all of that, so do subscribe. There should be a midday short upload tomorrow, and I will be live tomorrow night. I will be live about 8:45 tomorrow night, so make sure you're subscribed. If you want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, updates and more, make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Any updates on De Jong, who we're working on right now, I will let you know. We're working on a deal for De Jong. Something could be done in the next week. It could fall through. There could be a big update, but there's going to be updates on De Jong over the next week. So if you want to make sure you know all the latest on De Jong, if there's a personal term, if there's a bid, if there's an agreement, make sure you subscribe and all of that. But I am going to end the live stream here. There'll be a video out tomorrow and a live stream tomorrow night. There'll be a video out Tuesday and a live stream Tuesday night. Daily uploads, United news, updates, tactics, analysis, watch-alongs, match reactions. Please subscribe. But thanks for tuning in, guys. And yeah, one last comment. Without Rice or Tchouaméni coming, it makes more sense to go for De Jong. Tenacious midfield type, I agree. But smash a like on the way out. Subscribe if you're new. Back tomorrow. Bye, Z.